Well, good morning and welcome to the Isle of Lewis, Cliff Beach to be precise. And you may wonder why I'm all waterproofed up and sitting in the van. Well, it didn't look like it was going to rain, but I thought I'll just put the waterproofs on anyway. And then it started to absolutely hammer it down. And while I am wearing waterproofs, there's part of you that thinks it'd be better if it started raining when I was already out there rather than stepping out into the rain. But I think we're just going to have to give it a go. So came down here yesterday, checked out a few bits and pieces. Beautiful beach, lovely bay. Had a little bit of fun with the iPhone as normal. And so I'm going to head out this morning and see whether there's anything to be seen. And then from here, is it Riof Beach? Riof, R-I-O-F Beach. And then we're up at the sea stacks as well. So first up, Cliff Beach, and it sounds like the rain has stopped. Let's go do it. Oh, here comes that rain again. So coming down here, coming down here last night, there was an obvious little area that I wanted to focus on, was this little outflow, natural outflow. And there's some gorgeous textures in it, including a couple that you can almost put a little bit of an abstract in terms of scale perspective to it. So sunrise, I think, was about 5 minutes ago. Obviously we're down in this deep sort of bay, so no direct light. There's a little bit of light happening in the clouds behind, but the weather's moving back through again, so we'll see whether we can make anything of this bay. It's an outgoing tide, so very careful where I'm going to be walking. And yeah, just see if there's something to be had in terms of a bigger frame. See this bad boy here? That's a buzzard, that is. I had some really good views of golden eagles actually here, but that's a buzzard. So we'll see whether, I think there's a couple of things that we can try here. Something using that natural outflow to maybe pull the eye into the frame if there is some light in those clouds. But perhaps what's interesting me more is maybe some of those abstracty details. But put you away, have a bit of a play. I can hear more buzzards. In fact, yeah. Not that you're going to be able to pick that out. Right. Hang on. That's an eagle. No, that's a buzzard. You can hear it. Doesn't sound like that, by the way. Hang on, this isn't a nature documentary. Let's get taking some images. So I didn't get too far from the last place that we were chatting. And this little black kind of strand of beach. Very typical of the beaches around here, where you have these lovely kind of black markings on the beach. And so it kind of drew my eye, not only the inlet coming in, the flow coming in, but this here, but struggling to make it work. And I have a bit of an issue with bays like this, where there's kind of cliffs on either side. I think sometimes if you include, well for me anyway, if I included both sides of the cliffs, I'm not sure it works. And then just including one, does that work? Oh, another one of those scenes where it's beautiful to look at, but get you out of the wind a little bit, but quite difficult to shoot. And I'm very cautious about moving on, because obviously, as I said earlier, we haven't had any direct light coming in, and I'm not sure whether or not we have some direct light on that there, whether that will actually improve things. So one of those situations where it's stick or twist. I was hopeless at cards. So let's change our perspective a little bit. Let's try to cross this little flow. Whoop. There you go. And again, very cautious of stepping too much into the scene. I just wanted to see whether stepping across the flow. What I'm losing when I focus on that black stranded beaches, you really lose all concept of there being a curve in that flow. It's very similar on this side. Now again, there are footprints already here, so I'm not too fussed in walking too far into this. They might even be my footprints from last night. So again, on this side, it just is, it's very difficult to, I think if I kind of was to include that curve, there's a lot of cruffiness going on, so I'm not sure in this instance whether crossing over has actually provided anything. Some beautiful patterns in below the water, mind you. Right, let's carry on looking and see whether we can find anything, but at the moment, whoop, whoop, whoop. Nothing doing. So I've decided to stick with my location, not necessarily with the original composition. I've kind of moved around slightly, but decided to stick. Still not convinced. Kind of lowered myself down to emphasize that black strand, but what we are now getting is I see the first bit of light showing up on the hills, which hopefully means that we're going to get a little bit of light on these hills in the background, which may help the composition somewhat. So that light has now pretty much gone, and so I've moved we had a little bit of light on the far cliffs, but right now they have kind of just disappeared off into the background, and so my eye now is turning more to some of these more intimate details. And as I said, this is what drew my eye to this outflow initially, all the blacks and the patterns rather than the bigger view. So I've kind of pulled myself down here, and there's a lovely darker sort of shape in the flow here, almost like a reptilian's back, and then you've got these lovely sand patterns, dark sand patterns in the sand as well, but again trying to make something of them. You know, again, it's beautiful to look, but the whole complex nature of composition. I had recorded a couple of other bits standing here talking about composition and alluding to an article that I was reading from David Ward, but I ended up just rambling, so I'll maybe talk about that in a future vlog. So for now, we'll go back and we'll see whether we can make something of some of the more intimate scenes on this beach, and we might get some light, you never know. Well, I have found myself a little treasure trove of rocks in this little alcove. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the sand patterns, some of the colours and the textures in the rock, just So I think I'm going to end the vlog right there while I do a little bit more photography in this area. The light didn't really develop too much, but there's still a chance later in the day for something else. So, but that is allowing me to kind of focus on some of these smaller, more intimate details. I mean, just look at this bad boy here. Oh. Hopefully my weekly ramblings are making some kind of sense. But I'm going to put you away, have a little bit more fun in this alcove, and try not to get swept out to sea. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye bye.